Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. Hope you guys had a beautiful weekend here, coming to you with the Monday after hours update. Now, not too much macro news today, so we're going to get right into our major indexes technicals. What is happening here? A bit of a mixed market day. We're going to go into our major tech names and lastly cover my portfolio and see the update on the positions, a few of them that I opened last Friday. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into it here. SPY up 0.06%, QQQ down 0.04%. You can see, guys, fairly mixed day as a whole. Let's look at the heat map here. You will see, once again, fairly mixed market day. However, some lagging behind here by our financials and healthcare. Once again, guys, even though we did have a few positive numbers on the day here, for the most part, we were pretty much red in a few key sectors as well. Now, Tesla putting in a massive negative day here, 3.32%. I guess it's not so bad considering they had a nice little run up recently, but technology mixed as a whole. Nice little day here on Apple. However, you can see on the one day relative here that the market was fairly mixed as well here, guys. So, bit of a non-event day as the markets prepare for our Fed Wednesday. I do expect tomorrow to be a bit muted as well for the same reasons. Big day coming up on Wednesday here today. So, let's get into the technicals, guys. Still in a SPY tightening range here. Your key level remains right here, almost there, 442.76-ish, right? This line is pretty much your daily line in the sand level today. We challenged it today, not closing below it here. So if we do flush this level in the next few days, guys, it will remind you that the daily downtrend has been recaptured by the bulls. At that point, you just look out to the weekly here. It will be continued weekly consolidation, and the bulls have created a decent amount of space with this move up here. So anything above 433 is just going to be looking out for a weekly higher low. Need to see the bulls continue to tighten this up here and potentially get us to a break to the upside. If they can do it in one shot like this, they will reset the weekly uptrend. Keep in mind, the weekly uptrend has not been lost, but if you lose your 433, it will be lost as well. That'll send us into further monthly consolidation. So a few key weeks here as we approach the end of September, which in terms of seasonality is known as one of the worst periods. But for now, bulls holding up, guys. And obviously, if you want them to reverse this, guys, well, I'm going to need to see a break of Thursday's high, 451 pretty much, to reset everything to the bulls. So we'll see if we can do that, guys. But the next 2 days going to be absolutely crucial with this Fed decision here. Market's not looking too bad. We do have a lot of space on the weekly still, so nothing to really be concerned about in my opinion just yet. Holding good defense at the 12 EMA. QQQ, same thing pretty much, right? Even on the weekly, you can see it right here, but let's go on to the daily. Daily, not able to close below our 369.40, still above our 369.40 line in the sand level, guys. These lines are crucial because we are protecting from the potential daily downtrend that could be forming here. So if we do, for any which reason, get the daily downtrend, guys, just zoom out to the weekly, focus on the fact that we do have enough space here for the bulls to work with. Anything above 354 is just going to be for your weekly higher low. Past 2 weeks here, looking a bit like a weekly bull flag, right? So it's very possible that either we tighten up here continuously before potentially popping above, or, right, the worst case scenario is coming all the way down here. Then you set up for either the weekly downtrend flush or potentially the two-step flush if they come too low, right? So I really need to see, if they want to hold it in a tightening range pattern, I need to see them play defense around this 12 EMA, okay, guys? XLF financials. XLF financials not looking too bad, right? We did have a negative day, really negative start to the morning here, as a matter of fact. Gap down open, right? You can see this, right? From Friday's close, gap down open to pre-market, almost down 1% here. And we were able to recover most of this gap during the day, holding near the highs of the day here. So decent little recovery day on financials here, right? If we can put in a close above today's high tomorrow, that will mean that your daily higher low is set. That's what we were looking for, guys. Bulls in control now at this point of the daily uptrend. We'll see if they can continue pushing higher from here, guys, right? So this could be our daily higher low. But for now, as long as we don't get a higher high above yesterday's close and some push above, I can't say that the daily higher low is set. It's a nice little day of recovery here today on the 1 hour. Still haven't reversed the 1 hour time frame. Still looking for that hourly uptrend to confirm that our daily low is set, right? So bulls, still with a decent amount of space here. Anything pretty much above 34 is just going to be still hunting for that higher low. good little moving average support here. I'd like to see the bulls continue this daily uptrend here and really start recapturing more and more of this weekly move here, guys. Weekly uptrend is still intact here. So if ever for which reason we do pull back, guys, just keep in mind 33.61 is your key line in the sand level here. So financials not looking too bad whatsoever. My favorite play in financials right now, I will remind you, Charles Schwab by a long shot here, guys. Still decently off of all-time highs, has not recovered as much as the other banks. They've just went through their merger with TD Ameritrade as well, and this company is excessively profitable, guys, due not only to their banking division, right, but their trading division, guys. The trading division is what brings them in these very juicy high margins, and I don't expect that to stop, guys, especially with their merger with TD Ameritrade pretty much closed. They've been benefiting from that for a few years now, so I don't expect that to be going anywhere. So let's move on to now healthcare. Healthcare, XLV, toying with our lows here down, right? Our lows down here, guys, right? So daily downtrend is potentially at risk here. 130.92 is your low. Once again, like on almost a lot of these indexes, right? QQQ SPY and now XLV flirting with the lows. Bulls playing decent defense here. But if we lose this, guys, daily downtrend is underway. You will continue this weekly downtrend as well. The weekly bears do control this chart pretty much. My line in the sand level right now, even if we lose right here, this 130 area, line in the sand remains 128.78. All right. That is pretty much the level that is the most important for me, guys. It's the level that pretty much started all of this move. And you can see in 2 weeks, the bulls put in enough work to give themselves some space here so that the last pretty much 2 months, the bears have been struggling to take back here. So still battling out in this between these two yellow lines here in this whole support area here, right? But if we continue to lose this, guys, it will be further weekly downtrend momentum confirmed. And then you look out to the monthly, guys. The monthly is the same area. That's why this area is so key, bro. It's your monthly higher lows as well. All right, so just keep that in mind. I don't want to see the bulls lose this. Healthcare is still positioned quite well, guys, but as of recently, it has definitely been out of favor, guys. You can see all the way since July pretty much. So coming up on 2 months, guys, the bulls have not been able to keep it up. The bears have controlled a large part of this movement. But in the grand scheme of things, guys, you can pretty much say that we've been almost going sideways, right, for the better part of the entire year so far. So healthcare not really giving up too much gain since our all-time highs. That's why, in my opinion, longer term, it does seem quite bullish. Now, IWM Russell just completely falling apart here, right? So daily downtrend is once again reconfirmed here, guys. The bears are just really crushing this chart hard. You can see this on the weekly, which is the time frame that matters the most. The line in the sand level for me at this point remains 181.50-ish. This guy right here, he's your last line of defense, right? Flush this and you set up the weekly downtrend, weekly confirmed downtrend, something that they haven't had since pretty much the banking crisis, right? And a large part of this, right, I'll remind you guys, is KRE. Our regional banks just cannot get it done here over the past 2 months as they continue to slide and weigh on IWM Russell. So that's very unfortunate for the Russell here. Once again, some gains have been lost. Line in the sand level 181.50-ish area. This line right here, guys, if we do break this, I do expect there to be some good support down here in the 180 pocket. But all hope is not lost, guys. On the monthly, still some decent amount of space. Anything above 169, just looking out for your monthly higher low. And the bulls are really trying to keep this slight monthly uptrend going here, but have not been able to crack this 200 psychological resistance pretty much all year. They've tried 1, 2, 3 times so far, got rejected, right? So if we do pull back here, guys, into the higher 170 areas, let's say, I will be looking to write some options here in this lower pocket area, because I do feel that this is now starting to represent some good risk to reward for a potential longer term swing position here, guys. Get down in the 170s, around 175. Your index will be about 20. Let's pull that up again, right? 29%, guys. We pull it in at 175. 28% off of all-time highs. That's a good deal on the Russell, in my opinion. Dow Jones names, guys, also pretty flat on the day as we continue to battle. This index as well is in a bit of a tightening range. The line in the sand level for me on the daily, guys, remains 34,300, right? Daily uptrend has not been lost. We are now in a tightening range. But if for whichever reason we lose 34,300, you will be, once again, in a daily downtrend. It will remove all the beautiful works that the bulls have put in to change this uptrend so far, and we will start a potential new daily downtrend down there. That's okay. On the weekly, guys, still working with a bit of space here. It is actually the same level, right? So if you lose this whole area, this most recent area, 34,300, your line in the sand then becomes on the weekly 34,000 flat. Really would not like to see the bulls lose this, right? So bulls still with some space to work with here. Fed day is going to be a crucial day for this index, in my opinion. Now, let's move down to our big tech names, yeah? So moving on to Apple. Apple with a decent little recovery day here, up almost 1.7%. Very, very good day on Apple. Apple, for the bulls to regain somewhat of short-term control, I need to see a break of 180.5, guys. This high right here is going to be absolutely crucial. Break this, you break the bear's daily downtrend, right? So if you do this, you create enough space to reset for a potential daily uptrend for the reversal. I'll remind you, the line in the sand level still remains, as we are in a daily downtrend here, right? Your line in the sand level remains 173.50. And then below that, your weekly line in the sand level remains 172.40. These two levels are crucial. Lose this first one, you lose the daily. Lose this second one, and you lose the weekly, and potentially forfeit the weekly uptrend and go into a weekly downtrend here. So decent little day on Apple. I want to see them push a little bit higher to regain short-term bull control here on the daily. Need to see a push above 180.4. Then I will be fairly confident in saying the bulls have created enough space to potentially set up for a daily trend change. So we're going to keep a close eye on Apple. AMD. AMD also with a decent little recovery day, guys. Opening low, we got actually below 100 today again, testing our most recent low of the past 2-3 months, right? So we did come pretty much down to it. I think we flushed it by a penny, right? If you look at the low here, 99.58, and the low today, 99.45. So flushed it by 13 cents. Not enough though, did not close below. So bulls still playing some decent defense in my green little box here. This is my sweet spot area. So going to be looking for the bulls to continue this little reversal that they got going off the morning here. Need them to change the hourly trend, right? So this whole thing has been a massive hourly downtrend all the way from the 108 area that it started, right? So now step number one, reverse the hourly trend for me. That'll let me know that your daily bottom is pretty much in. And then we're going to be looking for the bulls to put in as much work against this 109 level as possible to set up for the daily trend change. This is now a confirmed daily downtrend. So we are just looking for a lower high, right? Lower high. Lower high, we're going to be looking for another potential lower high. I would target the moving averages and our 107 resistance area. But if AMD can pull up into there, guys, even if we are in a daily downtrend, right? If they can pull up as high as possible, maybe hit 107, you could potentially set up for a daily trend change to the bulls here. Inflation day, obviously, I mean, not inflation, the Fed decision day is going to be absolutely crucial for AMD as well, right? Because AMD, as of recently, guys, they have fallen down and their profit margins have not quite been what they were in the past, largely due to their inability to cost control properly and interest rates also weighing down on this company, right? So very, very unfortunate for AMD. I still think in terms of a long-term semiconductor player, they are a good pick. AMD still currently, guys, off of 52-week highs. I mean, good value here, 23% off of 52-week highs, and off of our all-time highs, guys, 37% as of now, right? So AMD, probably one of your best risk to reward plays for any semiconductor right now, right? If we go through them, like TSM, right? TSM, how far are we off of the all-time highs here? We will see TSM 39%, also some decent risk to reward on TSM too. NVIDIA, I don't need to pull up. You guys know that it's at the all-time highs. Let's look at, let's say, ON Semiconductor. I'm just going through the biggest players here, right? ON Semiconductor, 14% off your all-time highs. Micron, right? Micron as well off the all-time highs. Let's see how much, 28%. So AMD pretty much, AMD and TSM looking like the best opportunities across the semiconductor industry as a whole right now. Your weekly you are still in a weekly down trend, right? So this level right here, guys, if you lose this, guys, right? Your weekly downtrend simply continues. And at that point, we will just be looking for further monthly consolidation. AMD now consolidating for the better part of 4 months. Amazon looking fairly decent, guys, even though we did pull back 0.3% here today. Tons of space, guys. Anything above 134 is just going to be looking for your daily higher low. The bears are coming down hot into your moving averages here, but you can see the 12 EMA putting in some good support, right? So dealing with this whole previous resistance area, which is now acting as support, right, coming in for Amazon here. Amazon bulls really looking quite healthy in the grand scheme of things, guys. I know we've had about 3 days of pullback here, but looking fairly healthy if I do say so myself. A lot of space still above 134, right? So we are just looking for the daily higher low for daily trend continuation to the upside. But if for ever which reason we lose the daily uptrend, guys, I'll remind you that on the weekly, we are very healthy. Anything above 131 will just be for your weekly higher low. So even if Amazon bulls can't push up here because of the overall markets, and we have been a bit negative as of recently, they do have a lot of space to fall back on, and they do have some very, very decent support, horizontal support, right? And your 12 EMA coming down into here as well. So Amazon bulls positioned pretty well, just can't get it done, and that's pretty much due to the overall market, in my opinion. Now, let's look at Google, right? So Google actually performing well today, 0.5% up. Google continues its little grind higher, right? So daily uptrend is still favoring the bulls here. They did give a little pop here, and we are trading above. Google resistance at this point, guys, stays put around the 145 level, and you can see this is one of the healthiest weekly charts as well as with Tesla. All right, these are my two favorite bullish charts right now, right? Google pulling up pretty much past 5 weeks in a row. So very good job by Google bulls in controlling everything, right? The level for me on the daily remains 134. If you break 134, you would lose the daily uptrend, but on the weekly, tons and tons of space, guys. Anything above 128 pretty much is just going to be a weekly higher low for further continuation of the upside. Google looking very, very healthy. Not much to say on this chart whatsoever, right? If you need to see Google pull up here, I would like to see them pull up hard into the 140 range here over the next couple of days. If the Fed result does come out nicely, I do think you'll get a very nice pop on Google, which will send us to our higher levels here into perhaps the 145 range. If I'm expecting a larger pullback on Google, guys, I do think it's going to come in that 145 range. Meta up 0.75% here today, right? Taking a little bit back of Friday's trading, but Friday was a very, very bad day, guys. So I'll remind you, we are still just looking for the daily higher low at this point. Bulls with a lot of space here, anything above 277 is just going to be looking for your daily higher low. So Meta has done a great job here of just grinding higher on these levels. The bulls have now created some decent space, not the best space, right? The best space would be all the way back up here, but they did get as high as about 312. So now, even on the weekly, anything above 275, guys, just for the weekly pullback, potentially to set a weekly higher low for potential continuation. But this level, guys, a lot of these charts, right? Apple, Meta, even Microsoft, guys, if we do pull back and lose these weekly uptrends, a lot of these charts haven't lost the weekly uptrends, guys, pretty much either from the beginning of the year or since last year, right? So these would be notable to us. But now we're going to take this one day at a time. Bulls still in control of the daily, still in control of the weekly, have not lost this yet. I'm just setting up the potential for expectations that if we do come down here and flush this, guys, it will be weekly downtrend. It will be further monthly consolidation, potentially into October, right? But usually Meta is pretty good for Q3 and Q4 as companies do tend to advertise more leading into the holiday season. And this is usually when you also have your good season of consumer spending too. So decent little day on Meta, but really nothing to scream home about. Microsoft down 0.35% again. So just like Meta, Microsoft has been consolidating here over the last 2 days. Line in the sand level for me, guys, 319. Lose 319, you lose your daily uptrend. Microsoft now only $10 to work with here. So I do need the bulls to kind of kick it in gear and kind of smash this 340 area, really reconfirm our daily uptrend and continue putting in more of this weekly move. But if for ever it's reason we lose the daily uptrend, either by flushing this in one shot or flushing it in 2 shots, guys, I'll remind you, need to look out to the weekly, guys. 311 is going to be a very crucial level. If the bulls can hold this, they flush this, it'll be weekly downtrend confirmed, and your Microsoft monthly consolidation will continue for a 3rd month in a row, guys. So everything really relying on the most recent Fed meeting this Wednesday. If everything goes good and the Fed does pause, I do expect these charts to have a little bit of lift remaining in them. Really no negative news catalysts on Microsoft specifically, so kind of just pending data here for the Fed release. And if the Fed release, if ever they do hike rates on a surprise fashion, or they have a really hawkish tone, guys, I would not be surprised if we do start pulling back here, and then your crucial levels will potentially be at risk. But for now, Microsoft just really grinding higher. My sweet spot level 308 down to 286, I'll remind you. NVIDIA up on the day, right? But gap down lower and had to recover most of the day, kind of like what AMD did, right? So NVIDIA here in a daily confirmed downtrend here. Any little bounce is potentially for a lower high compared to this high here and potential daily downtrend continuation. The bears are in control of the daily time frame right here. If you want to see a break above, you're going to need to crash through Thursday's most recent high here, 461, would be enough to reverse this daily downtrend into continuation here, right? But as of now, daily downtrend does continue on NVIDIA. And now we're getting close to our weekly level, guys, 404. All right, keep that in mind, 404. If you lose 404 for any which reason, you would lose the weekly uptrend, something that has not happened, just like a lot of these stocks, guys, hasn't pretty much happened since last year at this point, right? So it has to be notable. If we lose these weekly uptrends on a lot of these charts, Meta, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Apple, right? You will be heading into monthly consolidation. I know a few of these charts have been consolidating either sideways or slightly down for the past 2 months, but I'm talking about if you do get this type of stuff, guys, you will get broad market monthly consolidation on tech, which is completely normal in my opinion. It usually does happen once or twice or sometimes 3 times a year, to where these stocks inevitably do have to pull back on the longer time frames first, right? And potentially give up as other sectors are allowed to rally. If ever tech gives up these weekly uptrends here, I'm going to need value, I'm going to need healthcare, I'm going to need financials to really recover and make up for those losses in tech here. So NVIDIA, keep an eye. 404 remains your crucial level on the weekly, but for now, bulls just kind of chilling here in the 440 range. Like I said, if you want to see this captured back, guys, need to see a break of your 461. And now let's get down to our last 3, Tesla. Tesla, not too bad of a day here. I know it's down 3.32%, guys, but we were just expecting eventual pullback. Once this daily move topped out, we were always expecting the potential for a daily higher low. So anything above 243 is just for a daily higher low. You can see this 257 line here is your very, very good level of previous resistance, which is now going to act as potential support. So we have the 12 EMA here, we have the 26 EMA down here, we have a horizontal level support down here. So some good confluence in this whole 262 to 256 pocket, right? Very, very, very good level for Tesla to potentially pull back in. And Tesla is doing just that, right? So daily uptrend, nobody is doubting that it's a daily uptrend. Now I need to see the bulls put in some good defense around this confluence zone here and really stop the bears in their tracks and potentially start launching here back towards our 280 highs. So a bit of a consolidation day on Tesla, but I'll remind you, even on the weekly looking healthy, guys, anything above 212.50, right? Just for the weekly higher low to potentially set up for the weekly trend change. So keep an eye on that on Tesla. I do like Tesla, guys. Over the past couple of weeks, Tesla has been one of the charts that's been performing the best, as well as with Amazon and Google. So they are your lead bulls, guys, right? But Tesla, if you potentially lose the daily uptrend here, well, weekly consolidation will be underway. And like I said, decent amount of space to work with here. Tesla's now been up pretty much for the past 4 weeks in a row. So I wouldn't be surprised here this week, guys, if Tesla does just chill around here and pull back and sets up for daily consolidation before the bulls can potentially accumulate in an area with a bit more support. And now lastly, Palantir and PayPal. Palantir doing absolutely nothing again, 0.85%, guys. I mean, I've been saying that Palantir has been doing nothing for the past pretty much 2 weeks here. Your levels remain 1640. If the bulls cannot break 1640, guys, we are still in this tightening range right here, right? So eventually these tightening ranges are going to break, and when they break pretty hard. So keep an eye on that. Your weekly levels, okay? This is a weekly bear flag, in my opinion, right? Bulls not able to come back up too much. Bears controlling this. You could get a break. If it does break hard to the downside with the rest of the market here, potentially due to some negative macro news or the general market just pulling back, Palantir is a prime candidate here to really come down and test these 1375 lows, potentially putting the weekly uptrend in jeopardy. Losing the weekly uptrend here would mean you are continuing into further monthly consolidation. The sweet spot for me, guys, on Palantir, 13 down to $12. I mean, the bulls are playing decent defense here, guys. I don't want to sound too bearish on Palantir. It's just I don't like the technical weekly setup here at all. It just screams bear flag to me. It screams head and shoulders pattern to me as well, right? So it might be time for the bears to take their turn. I'm going to be very curious to see what's going to happen on next Palantir earnings, although they are a bit away here, guys. Still pretty much, I think, in November, right? Yeah, so a lot of time yet for Palantir earnings. So no real positive news catalysts on the horizon for them yet. So going to be very curious to see, guys, can the bulls hold on? In my opinion, this stock is going to be pretty much led by the general market. If the broad market is going to be bullish, then we might see a rally here and crack the 1640. And if the general market is bearish, we may come down to these levels. But in my opinion, guys, most of the company specific news was all priced in back here. And now we're kind of just following the market, which is why you're not seeing Palantir being able to pick any direction whatsoever. And now lastly, PayPal. PayPal pulling back again on the day, 2% day here. Anything above 60.40 is just going to be your daily higher low. So the bulls playing a decent amount of defense, decent amount of space to work with here. We are in the daily uptrend, right? So I need to see bulls hold this, guys. Really need to see bulls hold this. This is really, really, really crucial. I mean, we did get some good lift here on the weekly. Not enough for me, though. I really would have liked to see them pull up into the 66, 67 area here. You can see that on the weekly, I mean, this chart is so crushed that I pretty much have to expand it to show you guys what I'm talking about, right? So we're trying to replicate this most recent move here. So far, it's looking kind of similar, right, in terms of the pattern formations, but we haven't pulled up as high as I would like to set up for the weekly trend change. I'll explain further. You can see, guys, that off this weekly bounce, we've only bounced up. I mean, even it didn't even close up there, but we've probably only bounced up about 40-45%. It's not enough for me to be confident enough to say that the bulls have enough space to create the weekly trend change. And the weekly time frame for me is key at this point, guys. Why? Because we haven't had a weekly confirmed uptrend since this level right here, but a decent weekly confirmed uptrend, guys. I mean, you have to go all the way back, right? All the way back. It's just been non-stop bearish control this whole time. I know we're doing a good job here of tightening up and really getting the last of those shorts out of the market, and where the bulls are doing a great job here of accumulating in the lower range. But eventually, we're going to need to see this thing pop. And I do think that it may take another quarter or two for really people to get behind PayPal enough to start to see some really big pushes into potentially the 100 area here. So potentially, you know, even for the next 1 month or two, I wouldn't expect much from PayPal unless they have some outstanding company specific news. But for now, just looking to protect the daily uptrend here and continue further up. If we do pull back into the 50 area, I will be averaging with more shares into PayPal. And lastly, guys, going to cover my portfolio. So where are we on the day, guys? Up about 43%, 42.81, right? You can see that the NASDAQ was still down a bit today here, 31.79. So still outperforming the NASDAQ by over 10% on the year. And in terms of the SPY, right, you can see, guys, that we're all the way up here, 42.81, and the SPY is currently down in the 15% range. So some good little outperformance on the indexes. And as a whole, in terms of my positions were performing well, as a matter of fact. You can see that all of this stuff expired worthless last week. So the Tesla 266s, the Schwab 57s, the GM 32.5s, the CSIQ 25s, all of that premium was pocketed. So pretty happy about that. And we did maintain some positions here from last week and opened a little new one here. So PayPal 66 calls, PayPal all the way down in the 62 range. So you can see that we pocket this covered call premium. It's allowed me to drop my average cost on PayPal a little bit. You will see that my break even now is going to be a bit lower than 66.12. I didn't take the cents off here yet, right? So you'd have to do 66.12 minus 31, and that'll be pretty much our new average cost into the $65 range. And now you can also see Apple. I wrote the 172.5s on Friday. You can see it in Friday's video, and we're down to pretty much 30 cents. Wrote them for $1.10. And with Apple's little rise today here, we are down to almost 30 cents. So very, very good premium collected on it so far, guys. If Apple continues to move up higher tomorrow, and we do get this to pull down in the 15-cent range, I may just close the position and take my profits. Very good, decent gains here in about a day of trading. AMD 104s in the money, right? You can see we wrote them for 322. They're down to about 272, so we pocketed a bit of premium here on AMD's rise today, and also AMD, the 97s here that we also wrote on Friday. We wrote them for 56 cents, and now we're almost, right? They were down to about 27 cents today, so we were almost up 50% on the contract, so really can't complain about that. We'll see how this ends on Friday as well. And lastly, a little possession on Tesla here, the Tesla 255s. We wrote them this morning for $1.89 a pop, right? And we are targeting right below If you remember my Tesla chart, right, the 257 area is crucial, right? Oops, Tesla. So we'll pull it up on Tesla here. You'll see that the 257 area is the really big area of support here. So I'm slightly below that at 255. If Tesla continues to drop tomorrow and I see some good premium on the 250s, I may take those as well. But for now, we are also up on this contract too. So a bit of a light week, guys, not going to lie, a bit of a light week. Haven't wrote too many positions or contracts, really waiting for the Fed decision on Wednesday. Going to be crucial. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, consider liking it, consider subscribing. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer. I'll see you guys tomorrow after the close. Take care and peace.